Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a blessed morning. I am having a blessed morning. Yes, I am. Today is Fish Friday, so I'm back with another good one. This one is good, but it's sad, and the reason why this is sad, right? It's talking about a lot of these facilities that house mentally ill, mentally ill children and mentally ill teenagers, the youth, right? And how they're becoming victims of these facilities, of being taken advantage of being beaten and being sexually assaulted. Do you hear me? Being beaten and sexually assaulted. In one of these facilities, right, is in Westchester County. It is called the Jewish Child Care Association is under fire after recent lawsuits and reports showing a long history of abuse at their residential youth treatment complex in Pleasantville in Westchester County, New York. What was meant to be a safe haven for troubled youth, recent reports reveal decades of unspeakable abuse. Many former minor residents have experienced sexual misconduct from staff, including repeated abuse, threats, grooming, and even everything worse. Right? And I want to send my love to all of the victims out there because I am a victim of child molestation, of being molested, right? You know, these facilities supposed to be safe havens. It's supposed to be a place where you can go, where you can seek guidance, information, and that the adults there can guide you to a job, can guide you to everything that you're looking for. Instead of guiding them, they abusing them and beating them and sexually assaulting these victims, these children. This place and a lot of other places in New York City, in these facilities, right, are breeding grounds for predators to be there for sexually assaulting, abusing, right, individuals that have a mental disability about themselves. You're going to blame it on lack of not having money, lack of not being funded by the state, but this is all lies. It's to cover up the sexual assaults and abuse all at once. And a lot of these children, victims, kill themselves, commit suicides because the abuse of these staff that so-called not trained to deal with trauma and depression, and right, and dealing with anxiety and dealing with mentally disabled children, right? They highly function, but they have a disability about their mind. And this is sad that we got to keep going through this and going through this and going through this, right? In these facilities, you need to get rid of these individuals and you need to persecute them. You need to persecute these individuals that take advantage of these children, these troubled teens that need help, that come from guidance, that needs guidance and understanding, knowledge, wisdom, understanding from somebody that really cares about them and really love them and want to see them win. But instead of that, they taking advantage. They taking advantage, right, and abusing and sexually assaulting and molesting and raping these children. This is what they doing, man. There's no different than what? Than Spofford. Is no different. That decades of these facilities, of these individuals, right, that been there for years, that practice abusing children, sexually abusing children, attacking children, beating them. So the child wound up in jail or death or murder, death, kill somebody or kill himself because they can't deal with it. They can't deal with it. They sexually preferences all messed up. They don't know if they're supposed to go with men. They don't know if they're supposed to go with women. Everything about them is all messed up. They are victims, man. How can you sit there and do this? How can you, and it's sickening, man. It's sickening. It's sickening. But this is what goes on. This is what go on. After decades and decades and decades of knowing this, you let this go on. You let it go on. So I'm going to play a video. I'm going to play a video. Hold on one second. This is sad, man. This is sad. Really, really sad. Give me 1 second.
Calls for assaults and violent altercations.
The school says it lacks the resources.
For assaults and violent altercations.
The school says it lacks the resources to deal with some of the behavior. CBS 2's Naveen Dhaliwal has a story tonight from Pleasantville.
The behaviors are aggressive and dangerous, seen here in video provided by the Mount Pleasant Police Department.
Years officials have decided to place children with serious psychological and emotional conditions, which the campus is not staffed or equipped to handle.
This year alone, officers have responded to 459 calls with a range of issues from missing persons to assaults to suicides. Now, town officials want the campus shut down.
They truly fear for the safety of staff, the safety of the youth and adults that are placed there.
Let me tell you something. This is all lies. In Pleasantville, this is all lies. Everybody was getting paid. The officers was there. They knew it for decades. Because once these acts happen, missing person cases, somebody's dying in there, there's residents attacking other residents, killing other residents. You know, the staff there is contributing into sexual assault and abusing. The residents there, the children there, everybody's getting paid. They knew that this was going on. They getting overtime. They getting overtime. So they allow this to keep going on and going on and going on. Everybody's getting paid. And you know who's suffering? These children. These children is suffering. They're getting sexually assaulted. They're getting attacked. They're getting beaten and everything else. You knew that this was understaffed. You knew that individuals don't have the capacity and don't have the understanding in these escalating situations. You knew this. You knew this. And you allow this to keep going on year after year. Everybody's getting paid in Pleasantville, in Westchester County, which is a big facility. A big facility. It's a big campus. A lot of dormitories that's there. And you talking about, oh, my staff don't have the knowledge. It's a lie, because everybody was getting paid. Everybody getting paid. The officers getting paid. That's their overtime. They didn't care about them children getting beaten and sexually assaulted. And they hanging themselves. You think the cover up money gonna cover up? What about the trauma and depression and the anxiety? If you go and check and see how many children cut themselves up or end up in prison or jail, end up in jail, I blame it on these individuals that was in the facility. I blame it on them.
4 years ago, police say a 19-year-old named Angel King was paralyzed at the campus after a security officer placed his knee on Angel's neck, trying to break up a fight.
If you said that this is a facility for children with mental problems, you should have had proper security.
Angel died 2 years later at the age of 21, and that case was settled out of court. JCC'A CEO Ron Richter won't speak about Angel's case, but does admit the facility that houses around 170 kids is not equipped for some of the behaviors.
Some of them are beyond.
Then you shut it down. You shut it down to avoid lawsuits, to avoid children being sexually assaulted, to avoid police being paid overtime and killings of each other. You shut it down. You shut it down to yourself. You're not going to shut it down because you're getting paid. You're getting paid off people's demise. You're getting paid off people's trauma. You're getting paid off people's depression. You're getting paid off people's anxiety and children and victims that have been victimized. That's coming there for safe haven. You took advantage of these children. So you're going to use social media. You're going to use all these major platforms to make it seem like, oh, the staff is not trained. It's lies. It's lies. Everybody got paid off these children, traumas and depression, right? And they demise of suicide in themselves, of committing suicide, and dealing with the pain and problems from your facilities. And it's not the first facilities. There's a lot of facilities like that. There's a lot of facilities all around the world that's like that. That's abusing, beating, and sexually assaulting children. And nobody's not talking about it. They sweeping it underneath the rug. What about the victims? What about the victims? This is sad, man. This is sad, and I feel for the victims because I am a victim. I feel for them victims.